A lot of people have asked why I decided to write something about it, because we get requests, dozens of requests a week at the newspaper to write stories. And when Gail came in, I thought, oh, okay. He came in right on a deadline. I said, give me all the information, I'll read it and decide. And I put it on the top of my desk, took it home, I started reading it, and I couldn't stop reading the book. I thought, this is going to touch people, because I read all day long. I've seen so many programs come and go, and I thought this could tap in. Then I read the Reader's Guide, and I thought it shows everybody how to do it. It even showed me as a parent how I could have done it or do it. And I thought this could really make a difference, because it gets everybody involved from the bottom up. And then Gail's persistence. I have to say to you, if this man believes in this much, I need to check it out. So I said to him, can you give me a couple people who can vouch for you? When he gave me Cleaster Mims, I knew Mrs. Mims' work. I called her and I said, what do you think? She said, Linda, it's a winner. She usually picks winners. So I read the whole thing again, and when I started writing it, I'm just glad it turned out as well as it did, because I've returned to the book, I've given copies to other people in the community. I contacted some institutions and said, I write about you all the time, and here's something you ought to know about. They said, send it to me. So I'm glad it had a good result.
And in fact, yesterday we were finishing up the final construction detail. Hopefully when I get back on Monday, I'm walking into a brand new building. So, and this all happened in 1 year. And, every day is tough, because I have to walk into that building and look across the street and see ghosts. And see ghosts of my own past, but see the ghosts of who my brother was, you know what I mean? But I try to live the life that both of us should have lived today. And that's the most important thing. I'm going to close real quickly with a real story about, the work that I do. It's really round up and empowering young people to be a voice of change and really do stuff in the community. And it really goes, it's a story about a boy, his father, and the world. And the way the story goes is that there once was a boy, or all he wanted in this world was his father's attention. And his father was always busy into work, always busy into doing this, always busy into that. So one day he called him at home on a Sunday of all days. And he said, Dad, can we go outside and play some ball? His father, working on the computer, said, not now, son, I'm really busy. So the son kept coming back and annoying the father. The father got so frustrated that he took a magazine and he saw a picture of the world, and he ripped the page out. And when he ripped the page out, he ripped it up in tiny little pieces that it would be, he ripped it up in tiny little pieces and told the child, once you put the world together, then I'll make sure I'll make the time to go outside and play with you. Well, the kid came back 2 minutes later with the picture done. So the father was amazed and he was stunned and he was wondering, what is this? How did you get this picture done? And the child just looked at the father and he said, Dad, it was easy. On the other side, there was a picture of a man. And I knew if I could put the man together, I could put the world together. So that's what I'm talking about, the potential of our young people. 100 years from now, it's not going to matter what you've had in this life, what you own, what your bank account was, okay? What is going to matter, that the world might be different if today you invest your time in the life of a child.
Well, I'm saying that while many of us are basking in the fruits of labor for the country, there are many that are suffering. I went to New York. I know my friend is from Boston, but I went to New York. They had to go into Newark, go through the tunnel, over to the island there. I worked as the editor-in-chief for the Journal of Manufacturing. I had to go there once a month. One of the most traumatic experiences I ever had going through there and going out by the UN building and seeing all the guys laying in these grates alongside of the street there, while you got Wall Street right down the corner where people are earning billions of dollars. So I could go on in this discussion. I primarily wanted to give you an idea of where I come from, where I'm at now, and where we can go as an opportunity.
So my job was to build a new Boston City Hospital. So, I'm a good kid. I try to do the task, and then you get to do everything else you want to do, right? That's one thing you'll learn about jobs. You take a job, and you have to do what the job requires, and if you do it well, then they'll often let you do anything else you want to from that, as long as you do the first part. But then before I could get on to this larger task, a statistic was published in Boston soon after I became the health commissioner. And the statistic that was published was the infant mortality rate for the city of Boston and for the state of Massachusetts. Now let me tell you a little bit about Boston and its medical resources. I'm sure you're all proud of Cincinnati, and you should be. We are extraordinarily proud of Boston. We are obnoxiously proud of Boston. We call Boston things like the hub of the universe and the Athens of America. So if you run into Bostonians and you find their noses go up in the air, you just have to understand it. Don't forgive them, but you have to understand it. So we're very, very proud of Boston. Boston has 16 teaching hospitals. One of them is called Massachusetts General Hospital. I don't know if you've heard of that one. Its initials are MGH. We joke we call it man's greatest hospital. The Brigham and Women's Hospital, Children's Hospital, Beth Israel Hospital, Boston University Hospital, the Baptist Hospital, the Deaconess Hospital. We have all these brilliant teaching hospitals in Boston, 16 teaching hospitals in Boston. Now Massachusetts, which has a gazillion medical resources, and spent about $1,000 more per capita on medical care than any place else in the country in the national average, okay, had a continuing decline in the infant mortality rates. The infant mortality rates in the United States have declined phenomenally since World War II. Boston's was higher than Massachusetts as a whole, but you would expect that. It's a big city, has a lot of poor populations. The black infant mortality rate in Boston was 3 times that of the white infant mortality rate. In a city with 16 teaching hospitals, 24 neighborhood health centers, 3 medical schools, and 2 schools of public health. And I looked at that and I said, that couldn't happen. You couldn't just do that. I mean, you'd almost have to do something deliberate to have the black infant mortality rate be 3 times that of the white rate. Now, nobody was doing anything deliberate. Nobody was doing anything. You know, we had all these teaching hospitals, and we had these neighborhood health centers. But there was a sense that people were doing exactly what they were supposed to do and what they thought they were supposed to do, and they were all, each one was doing his or her job. So these great medical institutions would see women that would come in, and they would make sure that they took care of them while they were in the hospital. The fact that when they discharged a woman and her newborn baby and didn't have an address to which to discharge them never seemed to occur to them that that was a bad medical practice. That you couldn't call yourself a good physician if you knew that a woman was going to no place with her newborn baby, that she was homeless, that she might be going to a car.
So I want you to be thinking about with whom. That's a really important thing. And then when. And, you know, start with something very practical that you can do in the next 3 months. Because it feels good when you get that goal in 3 months. But don't forget you've got some bigger ones. I mean, having a healthier Cincinnati would be a wonderful goal we could take together. Or reducing the infant mortality, or reducing the crime. That would be incredible. Having more jobs, having more apprenticeship there's some phenomenal goals that you might do. But let's think, what are we going to do in the next 3 months so that we feel good, and that, like that, we get that stronger. We get that muscle going so we feel stronger, so we can get more people.
Also, I just want to make comment about some of the stories I've heard, magnificent stories that have really made me think about my own life. We all have our own stories. These stories are fantastic. I'm able to draw from some of these stories, some of the things that they've done, some of the people that they brought together, and some of the things that they've done to make a difference.
Rhonda McLeod with Myers. Judith inspired in me when she listed needs to get women out of poverty. We employ a lot of non-English speaking team members, and unfortunately, though they qualify for our benefits, we only can hire them as baggers, which puts them at a teenager's rate of pay. And what I'm taking back to the store is that we'll start to have mentors from the store to train them in English so they can move on to better positions in the store.
We should all support excellence wherever we find it. That's what. Anyway. And that's what this is. This is excellence. Mrs. Mims is excellence. This is excellence. Everybody that you saw up there, I don't have to tell you. I mean, I had no idea what this weekend would really be like. I just knew it was going to be phenomenal.